morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Taj. I am here with Donald, and joining us today is Chris from the Upper Deck, our women's show on Sunday mornings. Welcome, Chris. And joining us also is NFE for representing his new channel, The Strike Zone. So, how's everybody's week been so far? Are we all still on the Yamamoto train, or are we ready to pivot?
I'm not ready to pivot. No, hell no. I can take it.
What's getting me frustrated, and I want to get your guys' takes on it, is now we're hearing, last week it was he wanted to get everything done before the holiday. Now they're saying that window might be stretched out to where it could come down to, it could go right down to the January 4th. Which would be his 45th day.
Yep.
Is he holding up the rest of free agency? Because you're really not seeing a lot of movement. You're not hearing a lot about Bellinger anymore. You're not hearing a lot about, Snell and some of these other guys that are still looking for work. A lot of teams, I think, are waiting to see where Yamamoto's salary lands, especially with Snell, because he's a 2-time Cy Young winner. So Snell's going to get paid. Is he waiting for Yamamoto to set the market as the pitcher that's been here, done it already, as opposed to Yamamoto, who's going to be new to the league? Is Snell writing it out, or is he just going to say, you know what, screw it, I need to know where I'm going to be? Donald, what do you think?
Well, Tats, you're spot on, man. But for me, Yamo sets the market because he's younger than Snell, and I think what's going to happen is it's going to be Yama, and then the rest of free agency follows from there. Whatever happens, Yama's contract will be kind of a sounding board and what other agents are going to use as a building block for other negotiations. So Montgomery, for instance, and Snell, for instance, as well. So. But you are right in that regard, Uncle T. I expect that Yama will set the market, and then the rest of the market will fall into place after that. I don't love that this is going to possibly take until the 4th of January. I don't know. Is he slightly milking this now? You think he's slightly milking this? I know you got the Mets, the Dodgers involved and stuff.
Yeah, think of all the free meals he's getting.
I know. It's just it ain't that hard. Make a decision, man. It really isn't that hard.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think about it?
I just can't imagine that he doesn't know where he's going. He's got to know. And if you know, make up your mind and let's go, because he is holding up the rest of the show, and other free agents are standing by. In the meantime, Bellinger, for example, it seems like he's got no market at all anymore. I don't know. That's sort of my take on it. It's
All right, Chris kind of froze up a little bit. NFE, what's your take on the stalling?
On the stalling, I mean, to Chris's point, I think he knows where he wants to sign. I think he's just waiting for the right offer. And pitchers like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, they're waiting for Yamamoto to sign, because if Yamamoto gets the money that depending on what he gets, that guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery are going to request a lot of money. They're going to demand a lot of money, especially for Yamamoto getting the offer that reportedly he's getting these offers for a guy who's never pitched in Major League Baseball. He's getting these high offers, so you better believe guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery are gonna demand the same. So they're gonna demand a lot of money too. They're waiting it out. They're just waiting for Yamamoto to make his decision, and then at that point, guys like Monty and Snell are gonna follow. And it looks like there's been talks between the Angels and and Blake Snell. Sorry. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, it's Chris. You kind of froze up a little bit. Do you want to finish
Oh,
your
I'm
point?
sorry. I had to react to that. I can't imagine Blake Snell wanting to go to the Angels. Win the Cy Young, you're stuck with the Angels the next year.
I mean, that really would suck. But if they're the team that's courting you right now, that's your option. Like you're not hearing about other teams.
No.
You know, the Padres haven't shown interest to bring him back. So it makes it really puts it's putting a complete stoppage on free agency, and that's not good for baseball's business. You know, going into the winter meetings, it was everybody was talking about, you know, the wheeling and dealing that was going to be going on or anticipated. You had about a week after the winter meetings. All right, which deals under the table we're going to make it into the into social media and what's going on, and then it just went away. You don't hear Pete. You hear a lot of, you know, you have a lot of these beat writers are just putting out reports just to, you know, put something out there, but there's no validity to it. It's all hearsay. There's no
Right.
team.
So
No
that's
teams
right. We can't take for gospel that Bob Clappish is right that it's going to take until the 4th of January. Maybe he's just hearing something else because we heard something different 24 hours prior saying that we should hear it by the end of the week. So we're hearing all these different news stories. It's hard to take for gospel. We don't know. So it can change. It can change on a dime. Hey, it can change by the end of the show. God knows. It really can. Who knows? But and I wouldn't say that there isn't validity to it. I think every beat writer is trusting their sources and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the only person that knows is Yama and his agent, and we're just speculating after that.
Yeah,
Well,
and I was going to mention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You good? No, go ahead. Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, that being the case, if we assume that we are or aren't getting Yamamoto, what about looking at some of the maybe mid-rotation pitchers? I mean, are there, even if we get Yamamoto, we're still going to have to acquire another starting pitcher, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Oh, we're still going to need another pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the Yankees, because they don't know what if they don't know what they're going to be able to sign Yamamoto for, they know what they want to offer.
True.
It all depends. Now it's in the game where what does he want to take?
Yeah.
And until that's decided on and the contract is written and signed, they don't know where their finances are to go for the next part.
Yeah.
So when you have you have teams, you have your big players. You know, the Yankees, Dodgers, the Mets. You know, I think the Cubs are willing to spend. They're all waiting. They're all waiting for Yamamoto to come off the board, and other teams are waiting for the big teams to make the decision. You know, figure out what they're doing, so they know where their money is going to be able to go. It would really make sense. I think the Royals have actually been very sneaky this offseason because they've made some good acquisitions.
Yeah.
You know, they're not being pushed around. I think, and I know not that I dive too much into the AL Central, but isn't it? I think it was the timing was interesting when they started hearing about how Cleveland was going to start to rebuild things. The Royals saw an opportunity to kind of jump ahead in the Central and start putting money back into the team, so they could be the standard, you know, against, you know, the Guardians and the White Sox, you know. So I think that the Tigers even, you know, it's been a weak division for a while. Outside of Cleveland, the White Sox have tried, but they never clicked. Just like with the Padres, it never clicked, you know, and they had to start pivoting away.
was gonna say
They-
the Twins kind of showed some hope this year.
The Twins were good. It's just
Yeah.
it's the Twins. If it,
Yeah.
if the Yankees made the postseason, nobody would have they would have been eliminated right away. But their only shot was if we missed the postseason, and that's what happened. But it's these free agents or the players' agents need to shit off the pot. Make up your mind. You know where your clients want to go. Get it done.
I'm going to actually disagree there. A lot of it is the market of baseball, man. There's very few teams that actually want to spend, right? We know that. And that's what it comes down to. It goes back down to the market of baseball. It's only the teams that are involved in the Yama sweepstakes that really want to spend significant dollars, right? So the Phillies, the Sox, we know, possibly the Angels, but it's definitely the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets. Those are the real teams that really want to spend, and so it limits the market for the rest of free agency. So when the Yankees, and say whoever lands Yamamoto, right, then that's why the market is kind of stalling. I don't think it has anything to do with the agents. It's because there's a limit to the amount of teams that are actually wanting to spend to get better, right? It's not like the other sports where there's a salary cap and a salary floor. There isn't any of that here. So there's not that many teams that want to spend to compete. That's the facts, guys. So I can't blame the agents. The agents can only go by what the market is. So as Chris rightly points out, there's not even a market for Bellinger after the year that he had. So I disagree with shit you're getting off the pot. I don't think that's fair. So we have to wait and see what the market looks like after Yamamoto, but that's why Yamamoto is setting the market right now. Because once he's off the board, then the other teams can make a run at, say, Snell, Montgomery, next tier of pitcher. That's why. So we have to wait and see. That's why I'm kind of hoping Yamamoto makes a decision sooner than that, because I don't really want. I certainly don't want a situation with top end pitchers like Montgomery and Snell waiting almost to pitchers and catchers to get signed. I don't think that's good for the league either. So I hope Yama makes a decision by the end of this week, and we can start getting moving on the rest of the market and stuff like that. One thing I want to say is salute to 161, who's a big supporter of our channel, and everyone follow 161. Does a fantastic job. So salute and happy holidays, man. Thank you so much for watching.
But he poses an interesting question. What is the alternative to Yamamoto? Is it Amagama or Origami, however you pronounce his name?
Imanaga?
Yeah, thank you.
Origami.
It's not Umaga, guys. Just so everybody.
Oh my God. Origami.
Sorry.
Yeah, so origami. Let's
No, like what I think that's the only reasonable pivot where you're still taking a chance on an unknown, and I think that's what I think is the delay with Yamamoto. It's how much do you pay for somebody that hasn't done it here yet? And we've all said it. Jason brought it up. He had it as a big talking point on his live stream last night. Was how much is too much, and how are you supposed to judge the market? Because are you gonna? And it goes to why I opened up the show the way I did, because when you have a guy like Snell, Is he going to take less money as a 2-time Cy Young winner because everybody had to overpay for Yamamoto? It's like where do these teams draw the line? Like what's their barometer of what they want to do with the guys that have been here, done it, against somebody that hasn't done it, but has the ability to be one of the top 5 in baseball? Because Yamamoto has that ceiling to be that. And the counter that Hector had on his stream, because we all watch each other, is Snell does not pitch a lot of innings. He's not an innings eater.
Right.
So I think he hit 180 innings twice in his career. Once with San Diego, once with Tampa. Both of those weren't his Cy Young years. But after that, you're not even getting close to that. Is Snell? Why is Snell not getting the recognition? Is it because of Is it because of Hector's point with the innings that people, teams are hesitant to give him the big money and not get an ace type pitcher, a Cy Young pitcher? Or is it because they know that whatever Yamamoto is going to get, Snell's going to want more? Which do you think is a more tangible argument? NFE?
No, to what you said, I think Snell's going to want more, right? But I don't know how much more. We don't even know what money is being even offered to Yamamoto yet. I mean, based on last night's report with the Dodgers, it's between 250 to 300. But there's been a few people asking like, I wanted to ask this, like, what kind of money would you offer Yamamoto? Like, what is your top offer? What's the money that you wouldn't go over? Because I know, depending on what you give Yamamoto, like you said, Tats, I think Snell is going to demand that type of money, and I think rightfully so. He's won a couple of Cy Youngs. He's not necessarily an innings eater, that's a concern. So, I mean, personally, I wouldn't want the Yankees to go after Snell, but that's just my opinion. I'd rather them go after another pitcher. Let's just say if they don't get Yamamoto, or if they did get Yamamoto, I want them to get another starting pitcher for sure, because they do need one. But not, I don't personally want Blake Snell. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
And right now we got 42 people in the building. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Thanks everybody for joining us in the chat. We appreciate you all. Hit that sub button if you have not already. Chris, I know you and Lynn talked about it this past Sunday, what the deal would be. Bring everybody up to speed with you guys have discussed on the upper deck on what you got. What do you feel a fair contract would be?
A fair contract is the one that wins. Give him the money he's asking. Whatever it takes to beat out the Dodgers and the Mets, but I mean, with what NFE was just telling us, the numbers are really getting astronomical. I hate to say 300. I mean, my God, do you want to go beyond that? Hopefully you don't have to, but then again, it's not always money that wins. So it may be that the just because someone offers the most money doesn't mean that's the offer he takes. It could be so close that, I mean, I just speculation, just throwing out another idea.
So let me ask this real quick. Do you think then the for Yamamoto, is it more important that he wants to play for a team that he sees himself with, or is the money aspect a bigger part of it for him? Is it the team or the money that's more important to him, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask.
I think it's the team. I really do. I think that there's plenty of money out there. He's going to get it. If not, the top dollar, well, he's going to get the top dollar. But I think he wants to play where he's going to win and be successful. And I think he will. He seems, I mean, the people who are worrying about giving him the money, the Japanese competition has gotten better over the years. His stats are outstanding. He's just an elite pitcher. There's no reason for people to be concerned about giving him that money. Sorry. I popped out for a minute.
Donald, what do you think about it all?
I think that everyone's got really good points. Just trying to formulate how I think there's a limit to the amount of teams that are going to be bidding, right? So, as I say, that's why Yamamoto is setting the market. After that, then we'll see, and then Blake Snell will want to use Yama's contract, and say, right, well, he got such and such, and I'm a multiple Cy Young winner. I'm looking at Blake Snell's years, and in 2018, he was 189 ERA and 21-5. It was a wonderful season. Last year, he was terrific. 2.25 ERA. He's had some wonderful years, and has every right to ask for a lot of money. I think the Mets, if they miss out on Yamamoto, they will be really hot after Blake Snell. I think he's their next choice. I think that Yamamoto is the more desirable name because he's younger, and also he's just, his stuff right now is off the charts. His stuff is crazy, and that's why teams are climbing all over each other to get a hold of Yamamoto, because the what he's putting out there every 5 days is ridiculous. His pitches are just unbelievable. I can't even put it into words, because he's like pitching like an MVP / Cy Young / in Japan, and that's why the market is holding for Yama, because he's younger, he's approaching his prime, and he's doing ridiculous things over there in Japan. And then after that, then you will see Blake get paid. I think the way it's going to work, my personal prediction is I think Yama will go to the Yankees. I believe that the Dodgers, having spent on Glasnow, having spent Ohtani, I think they've got a limit. I don't see how they could go much more than $250 million contract, right? Something in that range, right? 250, 270 range, right? But I think the Mets can easily top that, right? And I think the Yankees can easily top that too. So then if you're looking at the Mets and the Yankees, we've discussed in the previous podcast, we're not going to go through that again, but I think that Yama will want to go to a team that has more experience at the top, which the Yankees do, and I think he'll want a team that's more ready to win, which the Yankees are, and I think he likes the fact that the Yankees made more of an effort than anyone else. They went to all his starts. They made sure that they knew he went to all his starts. They were literally jumping up and down and clapping for him when he pitched his no-hitter. Like they were there every step of the way. I think that means something to him. So I expect that's going to help us in regard to, and I think that's why we're quite confident in this. So my prediction is I think he goes to the Yankees, and I think the Mets will then go all out and bring in Blake Snell. And that's hardly like a huge miss for the Mets. You know what I mean? Blake Snell is a terrific pitcher, multiple Cy Young. I mean, if someone told me that in 2018, after the year that he had, where he won 21 games and had a sub-2 ERA, that he'd be a free agent now, normally you'd be like, wow, we got to go get Blake Snell. But, hey, it's also Yamamoto who's just there, and he's just my prediction is I think the Yankees get him. I stick to that, and I think the Mets will then go and pivot to Blake Snell. That's my personal prediction. The Dodgers aren't going to lose because, thank God, they've got a hell of a team already. So we'll wait and see after that. Jordan Montgomery is going to be interesting. I still think the Yankees would love to bring back Jordan. I would love to see what Jordan's market is. That's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad that he hasn't gained any traction. I mean, he just came off a World Series run, and it's like he still cannot. This guy still can't get the respect he deserves.
Nope.
But what's going on, Mazza?
I think he gets the respect. It's just the way that the market is, man. I mean, there's so few teams that want to spend, right? And the market is going to be the top tier, which is Yama, and the next tier, which is Snell. So that's just the way it is. There's so few teams that want to spend, and that's the problem with the league right now. That's the problem with the league. It ain't the problem with the player. It ain't the problem with the respect. It's the problem with the league and the way that the league prioritizes draft picks over free agents. There's teams that don't want to lose out on a draft pick if they spend a free agent. Those are worries as well, and it's real. There's teams that just don't want to spend money.
Yeah. I want to get to this comment from Mr. Barrows. He asked me the question, if the Yankees tried signing another starting pitcher while waiting for Yamamoto, would that discourage him from coming to us? I don't think so. I think that could even enhance the argument to get him. Well, we want you here. While we're waiting for you to decide, we're going to make sure that you have, we're going to improve the roster for you,
right,
to make you look better, to help you look better. Yeah. So I think that is one of those things where, I don't think it'll affect him signing at all. Just like, focusing on Soto first, it was not to discourage him from coming. I said it. I'm like, I want Soto on the roster when they sit down for that meeting. That's what happened. So I don't see another addition causing him to go somewhere else. I don't see that. Like Chris alluded to earlier, I think he already knows where he's going. It's just about the money. I think that's the only delay at this point. He's made up his mind. If the Yankees can come with the right wall, and I think it's between the Yankees and the Dodgers, I think it's going to be whichever of those two teams, and that's where he's going to go. He's either going to, but I don't know if there's also the argument. That's what I've enjoyed about this whole thing, and why it still remains a hot talking point on a lot of the streams, is because there's so many variables when it comes to Yamamoto. It's not Yamamoto or bust. There are options. Other teams still have other options. The Yankees can go out, sign another free agent pitcher. They could try making trades for a pitcher. The Marlins always kind of have remained interested in some of our players and prospects. Although I don't think Torres is on their radar anymore. But it's as long as the options are there, there's no need to panic. But it is this Yamamoto thing with the delay. We've seen this before. We've seen Harper waited till almost spring training. So did Machado.
yeah,
And we were all going. But it also, in my opinion, it forced other free agents to kind of take less than they could have if they were the last one standing. Because they didn't want to wait until spring training started before they found work. So other free agents might have to take a discount just to get the ball rolling again.
I was reading on MLB rumors that there's a chance that Snell actually signs prior to Yamamoto, and the Angels really, really want Blake Snell because they know that they're not really involved in the Yama sweepstakes. So the reason why Snell is behind Yama is because, as Tats rightly mentioned, he's not an innings eater, and durability is a concern. That's partially why he's like the next tier after Yama. But the Angels have been holding talks with Blake Snell, so we'll see. I still think that it would be wise for him to hold, and I think he will hold out because I do believe that the runner-up for the Yama sweepstakes will then pivot to Blake Snell, so like the Mets will get involved and stuff like that. But at the moment, the Angels have been talking shop with him, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, the Yankees need an innings eater though. They can't rely. They can't drain that. They can't always go to the bullpen in the fifth inning. That's been one of the Achilles heel of the Yankees. That and the lack of offense. The offense we've taken care of. I think we're set with our offense. Our lineup is set. It's strong. It's deep. The bullpen needs. Never mind, giving protection around the starting pitches. With who could bounce. When you have a three-headed monster, you also need a three-headed monster in your bullpen with your 7, 8, and 9. So you don't want to wear out. I think our bullpen probably pitched more innings than most starters across the league. Like that, he loves going to the bullpen. Bringing in a guy like Snell will just, Boone would get all giddy inside. I get an extra inning out of my bullpen. Bring him in. We can see it already. And then he's going to be turning the corner and flipping the page and, screaming at the umps. And we'll just get the same old Boone. I think if we get we need a Blue Gold. I was going on Blue Gold. Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, Blue Gold.
What's up, Blue Gold?
He's like, he said we need a real closer. We do. But
that's something that we should wait on Yama for. If there's a closer that we can make a deal for, then
that's what I want to lean into is the Yankees could still make a lot of other moves without affecting Yamamoto's decision. And that goes to get the bullpen guy. Get your closer while we're waiting for Yamamoto. Then you can see where you want to go with the rest of your rotation. NFE, what do you think?
No, absolutely. I'm always the guy that says, load up the bullpen. You can never have enough pitching.
Yep.
So the Yankees should be doing that, and they are. They have been quietly making moves while they're still waiting for Yamamoto to make a decision. We don't know where he is in his process, and they have been making, it sounds like the bidding has already started for him. We just don't know what he's going to get. But absolutely, load up on the bullpen. Go find your closer, right? The Padres last night signed Yuki Matsui. They got their closer. There's options out there. There's been names mentioned, right? Clase, Devin Williams, Josh Hader, who's still a free agent. Surprisingly, nobody has signed him yet. I was expecting a team to sign Josh Hader by now, but he's still a free agent. Jordan Hicks, that was a name that was mentioned that the Yankees were interested in. I would welcome him. He's got some good stuff. But even like I said, even though the Yankees are waiting on Yamamoto's decision, they're quietly making some moves. They've made some trades, they've made some signings, so they're slowly building up their pitching. But we'll see what else they have in the works. I know they've been talking to other teams about interest in certain players. So, they're making moves. They're working behind the scenes. But I would see, because internally they did talk about maybe bringing back Jordan Montgomery. I would say while they're waiting on Yamamoto's decision, let's is Monty interested in coming back? Personally, I would welcome him back, and that would be the second starter that the Yankees can acquire, assuming that they get Yamamoto. So,
I agree with Mr. Barros. He's got a really good point here. Monty would be a great reunion if they let him throw his fastball.
Oh,
and
100%.
That's what it is. Will the Yankees admit that they underutilized him, whatever the right word choice is? They didn't use them correctly, right? They had him use his secondary pitches instead of leaning on his fastball, and that was the real problem, because once he left and went to other teams, then they started making use of his fastball, and his secondary pitches were then more effective because he was working off his fastball. That's how it should be for starters. That's how it should always be for pitchers that have good fastballs. So the Yankees really screwed the pooch on that, and then they traded him for less than his value. So they really lost on that. Will Cashman admit that he messed up that whole thing? He messed the whole thing up right there.
Yeah.
Not him, probably Mike Fishman. Mike Fishman's been in his ear and screwing the Yankees up behind the scenes for years. Mike Fishman is a disaster class. So even though we blame Cashman, because Cashman heads a lot of this thing, the person that's in his ear making these decisions is, in fact, Mike Fishman. He's Mr. Analytics Guru, and our analytics team is a disgrace because of Mike Fishman. Mike Fishman would be the one telling him, have him use his secondary pitches because our dudes that are working behind on an Apple Mac is telling him to throw his secondary pitches more. So, rant aside, will the Yankees admit that they didn't utilize him correctly and then bring him back and allow him to work off his fastball? That would be a big thing. And if the Yankees do that, then that really shows me that they've changed. That really shows me that the front office are willing to change and willing to admit that they've made mistakes. I'm not 100% sure on that because, as I say, Mike Fishman's still employed, and Mike Fishman's the one that's been that brought in the the team to look into their analytics and stuff like that. So he's very much still active. So that kind of worries me a little bit with regard to bringing back Montgomery. But purely in terms of ability, Monty's an excellent pitcher, and I would love to have him back. I think he'd be a really solid number 3. But there's a lot of teams that would like Montgomery too, and that he could even be a 1B in a rotation. So
I won't. The Yankees will never admit when they were wrong, but I think that if Monty comes back, I think they'll let him pitch the way he was. I think they'll continue to let him pitch the way he did in Texas. I don't think they're not gonna try to revert him back to relying more on his secondary. I think they recognize what went wrong, and now they will. I think they'll make the adjustments internally. But like, all right, he figured something out. Just let him keep doing it. But we're not going to say that we made a mistake, because it's just not in their ego to do it.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, to your guys' point, they're never going to say it out loud. Yes, we made a mistake by trading Montgomery. But for them to discuss it internally, I would say that they know that they made a mistake. So clearly, if they want a reunion with this guy, then they know what they missed out on. They know that they made a mistake. But yeah, they're not going to come out to the public and say, yes, we made a mistake. They're not going to do that. But
Oh,
if they're talking
100%. Can I just chip in on Frank here? 100%, man.
Yeah.
But I never once defended Cashman. I'm just saying that he holds Fishman to such esteem that he holds sway over the rest of the front office. He really listens hard on what Fishman says. And that's a problem from Cashman, too. There's a huge problem that Fishman's even involved in this front office. But Cashman loves him. Fishman was the one that made the deal for has made several high-end deals, one of them being Nick Swisher. And Cashman credits him for the Nick Swisher deal. And since then, Cashman has been holding Fishman to an extremely high esteem. But Fishman really screwed things up, especially these last couple of years. And Cashman's been listening to, and that's a problem on Cashman too. So that's just the facts as I see it. And I have no doubt that Fishman was behind the Montgomery stuff. He was probably the one that told him to trade him for the injured center fielder, Harrison Bader. So I wouldn't be surprised there. He's involved in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Can we circle back for a minute? I'm sorry.
No, rewind.
I wanted to circle back. Blue Gold had a comment about Clay Holmes. He said he would never want to see him in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. And I just want to make kind of a bold prediction that Holmes is going to be he's going to be a part of the Yankee, plans coming in 2024. He was pretty solid. He's not Josh Hader. He has not got the numbers that someone like Hader's got. That he almost made the All MLB team. He was solid. I'm not saying he was spectacular, but it wouldn't surprise me to see the Yankees bring Holmes back in the closer role. Just throwing that out there.
No, there's no
right.
doubt. There's no doubt Clay Holmes will have a very serious role in the Yankee bullpen. I think he's going to be an 8th inning guy. Well, I think the Yankees actually want him to be a closer, but I think he'll be the 8th inning guy, and I think the Yankees will hopefully acquire a closer. And if they do, I think Clay Holmes will be a much better pitcher out of the stress of being a closer, because he doesn't have the – for me, he doesn't have the mentality for it. He really struggles with runners on, and he's a one-pitch pitcher. And I'm sorry, but unless you're Mo, one-pitch pitchers are kind of are worrying for me, especially ones that rely so hard on the sinker ball, because his sinker is iffy. When it's on, you can tell instantly if it's on. You can tell within the first 2 attempts of him throwing that sinker whether that sinker is sinking. Yeah. If it ain't sinking, he's gonna get blown up like the fucking Godfather, right? So that's the problem. That's the freaking problem. So that's why we can't rely on him. I would have him as an 8th inning guy, and we need to go get a closer. We're getting a really good stuff going on in the chat, going on with Hader and Jordan Hicks. Yeah. And there's a really good debate going on with that, so we can definitely lean on that, Uncle T. In my previous podcast, I mentioned Hader's stats are fantastic. Oh, yeah. Don't be hating on Hader. His stats are ridiculous. I don't believe that he's the next Aroldis Chapman. His stats are crazy good. As I mentioned, he had like 85 strikeouts in 58 innings. That Holmes only had like 60 odd in 50 plus innings. There's a huge difference here. He's on another plane. He's on another tier. Clay Holmes isn't even touching Josh Hader. Not even in the same freaking universe as him. Like, Hader's a really good pitcher. Oh, yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from Hader. I just don't know if he's a good fit for the Yankees. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad closer. For some reason, I just never saw him as a fit on this team. But that's just my opinion. And I do agree with you, Donald, that I think Clay Holmes, he should be an 8th inning guy. I think he should be a setup man. Mm-hmm. You know, he shouldn't be in the closer role. And because every time I hear about him maybe going back to that closer role, it just reminds me of that game that I watched with the Yankees and the Marlins when he blew that four-run lead.
Yeah.
I think it was like 4 or 5. After that game, I'm like, okay, that's it. He cannot.
He's done. Yeah.
He's done. He can't be a closer. And every time I hear that he might be back as a closer, it just that game comes back to my brain, and it just brings back that memories.
It all changed for me 2 years ago. I think it was against the Reds. It was midsummer, and we were facing the Reds. We had like a 5-run lead, and he gave it all, and we lost that game. And then since then, he's not really been the same. He struggled the rest of the year, and for me, he struggled most of last year too. He's been very inconsistent, and the Yankees have had an issue with had a Clay Holmes problem for a while now, and it wasn't just the Reds game, as you mentioned. And if that game against the Marlins, it was a disgrace.
And I'm not taking anything away from Holmes. He's a great pitcher. I think he's a good pitcher. He just shouldn't be a closer. That's all I'm saying. I think he's got great numbers. Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not that. Look, he's a great pitcher. Matt Blake has done wonders with him.
True.
When they first made that trade, me, Donald, and Rob, we were puzzled. This guy, he sucks. And then you took a 24-hour deep dive into him, and you realize, okay, these guys got potential.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Blake and the Yankee pitching staff brought him out of his shell. And if he's not in any inning other than the 9th, I would trust him in a heartbeat. I just don't trust. He cannot. Closers will tell you. If you bring me, sometimes they don't want to come in unless it's a save opportunity, because it's also baseball is there's a big mental aspect to it. If there's no pressure on them, they kind of 9 times out of 10 that they're going to struggle a little bit. But the same thing for your 7th and 8th inning guy. They know that their job is to get the ball to the closer. If they're now in the closer role, now you have that pressure of, oh shit, I can't fuck this up. There's nobody coming in behind me, and they can't handle that pressure. Same thing with not every hitter can be a leadoff guy. Not every starter is going to be able to is going to want to take the ball first. Sometimes guys are more comfortable being that 4th or 5th guy in the rotation. Yeah, so it's just all a matter of comfort level. Holmes is not comfortable in the closer role, but he's still a very valuable asset to the bullpen. Mm-hmm. So it's not that we're, I don't want to just keep shitting on Holmes.
Yeah, man, both things can
it's mostly because he's been put in situations where he's not mentally able to be a success.
Both things can be true, man. Both things can be true.
Yeah.
I don't like him working from the stretch because it limits the sinker. I think he's better when he's not working from the stretch. His stuff is more effective in a clean inning. When he's working with runners on, he struggles a little bit, and he needs that sinker in order to induce ground balls. He has to. If he leaves a pitch up, it's a home run, and then that's multiple runs. So he's kind of – there's even been innings where he got away with it and didn't give up a run, but balls were going right to the warning track. So we do have a problem with Clay Holmes in the closer role because you need a closer that can pitch from the stretch just as effectively as in a clean inning. And I don't think he could do that. That's pretty much my main issue with Clay Holmes. But both things can be true, Tats. You're right. He's a quality pitcher. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of him, but he is a quality pitcher. And I think if he had a reduced role in the bullpen as a setup guy, 7th inning guy, I think he'll be fantastic. But not as a closer for me. And I think from what I'm hearing, I think the Yankees are interested in closers, and I think they do want to build a super bullpen. So that would indicate that they aren't all in on Clay Holmes closing out games. So I think that they will add competition in that regard. It may just be a guy that they might not even acquire a quote-unquote closer, but someone who has closer stuff and that will compete for the job that Clay holds. And then, we'll see how spring plays out for who gets that role. You may see something like that, but we will continue to improve on that bullpen, and that will be something that, whether it's after Yama or we're working behind the scenes on something right now, I'm not sure, but something will get done before pitchers and catchers for sure.
Yeah, well, although I'm not a fan of it, I want to bring it into the discussion because it applies. The closer by committee. Do you think that's something the Yankees will try to go back to this year? Where it just depends on who's available in the bullpen.
I hate it. I've always hated closer by committee. Never liked it.
Yeah. Well, one name that really hasn't come up as an up. It's come up once or twice, but not as often. But Ian Hamilton, what's our comfort level with him as a closer?
I'm on the fence, honestly, with him. Personally, he wouldn't be my choice for a closer role, Tats. I would probably, bring him in around, seventh inning, personally. That's what I'm leaning towards. But he could fit that role of a closer. It's possible, if we're talking internal options.
Yeah, that's
another name. Yeah. And another name that was brought up in the chat was Luis Hill.
Yeah,
of him being a internal,
Right.
or of him being a potential closer. So I mean, and then another name that we haven't talked about was Efros. What about?
That's another option.
Yeah, that's another option if we're talking since we're talking internal options. But as far as Ian Hamilton goes, though, I think he should be like a seventh inning guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Luis Hill would make a great closer. I just coming back off the injury, I don't want to put him right into that type of pressure spot. I want to see how he's recovered first before anointing him to a certain role. But I would definitely have him starting in the bullpen for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Angelo Siciliano, what's going on, Ange? He's got Emmanuel Class A. I would take him at a fucking heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
I love Class A.
Yeah.
Bednar, actually, there's not one person on this list I'd be like, no. Maybe Jordan Romano.
He's underrated.
I'm not a big fan of Romano.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Romano either, but I like Bednar a lot. I think Bednar.
I do like Bednar too.
And the thing with Romano, he has the numbers. The pitch clock, it took him too long to adjust to the pitch clock because he had that weird windup where it almost looked like he sat down, and that really threw his timing off. And he kind of struggled a little bit. So that kind of made me not as trustworthy in him than some of the other bullpen arms around the league to acquire. Another guy that, Loaisiga would have been a great closer, but his injury history.
Yeah.
I like the guy. I've always been a fan of his. I just don't know. I can't trust him anymore. It's sad, but it's the truth. Sometimes you have to stop being a fan and be realistic. So,
yeah. That guy had Loaisiga had a lot of potential. I was, when he pitched well,
As long as what team was it that there was a team where with their star player, I wish I could remember off the top of my head. And they said of all the pitchers on the Yankees they never wanted to face was Loaisiga. That's how nasty his stuff was. Williams the only dude that could get traded. No, not necessarily. Look, Ted DiBiase said it. I lie. Everybody's got a price. If you present the right package, a team will trade anybody. Yeah. Munoz would be great for them. Yeah, but I don't think the Mariners, Mo, are going to be looking to make trades like that. They'll move some small pieces, but not somebody like Munoz.
Yeah, and they value their pitching.
Yeah, but because they also just, even though they just got Matsui, Matsui went to the Padres, my mistake. But they're going to need their closer. So the Mariners, I don't think are in on trading their bullpen arms. Batista's a beast. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see that being done within the AL East. If Hader goes to Baltimore, then I try to get Batista from Baltimore. Batista, I like Batista.
MLB.com
Yeah.
had Hader going to the Dodgers as number one, and I think the Yankees were third. So I think the Yankees will be very much in on Hader. I would love to sign Hader first. I'm a big fan.
What bring retired war vet brings now we're really going into the deep dive of the internal options here. All right, and what's going on, retired war vet? Cortez is moving him into the closer role. Remember, Rivera started his career as a starter. We all know how that career turned out. I think using anybody from the any of the modern bullpen guys or modern pitchers can't be compared to Mo. Right? He's an enigma. He's that unicorn like Otani. You're not going to see that anymore.
No.
But I know I get what you're trying to say. It all depends on how our rotation is set up.
Exactly.
If we're able to acquire guys and go 6-7 deep, I'm not opposed to moving Cortez into the bullpen role. I think he would benefit from it because he's not he's coming off the injury, so he won't have too much stress on his arm, and he does have enough stuff in his arsenal where he's not one dimensional. So that's
Cortez's stuff plays out better over the course of 4 or 5 innings. That's really where his stuff works. So that doesn't work as a closer. You want a closer that has elite stuff for 1 inning to get guys out at a pinch, 4 or 5 out saves. Cortez is a thinking man's pitcher. He's a throwback to the 90s. The perfect comparison is Ramiro Mendoza. He's the perfect comparison for me with Nasty Nestor. Nestor gets guys out with his different use of arm angles and the different use of windups and his changing his cutter and mixing his pitches, because none of his pitches are elite. None of them. Not a single pitch is elite. And that's, for me, that discounts him from the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning for me. Previous success stories of starters converting into a bullpen. You're looking at Jobber Chamberlain. What did Jobber Chamberlain have? He had one of the most elite sliders I've seen. His slider was crazy. It was like a 97-mile-an-hour slider that just destroyed people. That's why he was perfect in a setup man role. And he would even have worked as a closer. But otherwise, Nasty Nestor is someone that throws low 90s, high 80s, but a lot of different movement, a lot of arm angles and things like that. And that doesn't work as a closer. For me, he's a Ramiro Mendoza. He's a guy that's a 4th or 5th starter / long reliever. But he did have a phenomenal all-star year a couple of years ago as a starter. He's not a field starter by any stretch of the imagination. He was hurt last year.
No, so I'm not calling him a failed starter.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the idea that he'd be moved to a bullpen. He is not a failed starter yet. We need to see him get an opportunity. I think he gets an opportunity again at the spring training to get a latter part of the starting rotation. I think he deserves that. And he ain't hurt. He was hurt last year, so I don't expect him to be hurt this year. But there's one thing that he needs to work on, and the rest of baseball caught up on it. It's his cutter that was going in on right-handed pitchers. He was throwing cutters in on them, and there wasn't enough bite on his cutter, and he was getting crushed. And it was getting a little predictable. So he'll need to work with Matt Blake on changing how he approaches hitters. But he's an excellent pitcher. Don't give up on him yet.
I was going to say, as long as he can stay healthy, that's the biggest concern with him. He's a little injury prone. That's my only worry with him. I think he's a great pitcher, but it's just the injuries is what's concerning me with him. And so there is still that one big question mark about him. I hope he can stay healthy. That's my biggest concern with Nestor. He's got some nasty stuff, but health is an issue. So
while we got the fantastic panel on, I want to ask. Let's start with Chris. Chris, talk about the Upper Deck, and then NFE talk about your channel too after Chris, and we'll continue to promote you guys. You guys have done a fantastic job, Chris.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, the Upper Deck, we're having a blast because we're building up the chat, and we're really having fun talking to people every Sunday. And it's a blast the more people, the better, obviously. And Lynn and I, we set it up so that we're basically focusing on fan reactions. We bring a lot of Twitter commenting into our podcast. We highlight our various posts on Twitter that give a pause for thought, that make for good conversation. So generally, we're focusing on fan fun and enjoying the game from a fan perspective. So that's pretty much how we go about it. And I think the chat appreciates that. And it seems like, they're joining in with us in good spirit along those lines.
Yeah, like you're doing really good numbers, so it really is attracting a lot of people. So you guys have done a great job.
And also the trivia question.
And the trivia, yeah.
Which I thank you for carrying that on, because that was not my my favorite part of the shows.
Yeah, we love that. I mean, we love having Spencer be sort of our third party.
Yeah.
Every week he provides us with the best trivia question, stumps the chat. Occasionally somebody gets it, but we're really lucky to have him as part of the group.
And NFE, talk about your channel.
Yep.
Yeah, as you guys know, my channel literally I started it almost 3 weeks ago, so I'm still brand new, so I'm fresh, right? But I'm enjoying it right now. I'm putting out a lot of shorts. I'm putting out videos. So as far as like the news and the reports that are coming out, I'm giving my 2 cents. Just giving my thoughts and opinions. And I want to get feedback from the subscribers. So it's not to say that I'm right or wrong in anything that I put out. It's more of like, here's what I think. Tell me what you think. So I'm trying to create those types of videos, but I'm also putting out a lot of shorts as reports or news comes out about teams signing players. And, I want to grow this thing as quick as possible, So right now I'm at 86 subscribers. I want to break 100 by the end of the month. So, like I said, I want to grow it as quick as possible. Hopefully I can get to
that's really good. After 3 weeks, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. But spread the word. And if you're one of the GOATs, you are absolutely one of the GOATs.
I appreciate it.
Well,
thank you.
And if right now you've been kind of just doing the shorts and the short clips, because Mr. Barros was asking when's your show on? Are you planning on doing live shows at any point yet?
At some point, I would like to. I would like to do a live stream. I'm just trying to get the numbers a little higher. Once I get those numbers,
we'll definitely
higher,
keep everybody updated on how the channel is growing, and I'm sure one of us will be involved with with the live stream. But like TC says, we got you, bro. We'll get you there.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would love to get all of you on. when I do a live stream, I want to get all of you on. So
Well, you know it, man.
I think it'd be.
You
I think,
know.
Donald, you're in. For sure. Chris, you're in. Uncle Tats, I don't need to tell you. You're in.
Can I come? Right?
Ooh, me.
But no, it's been, the takes from everybody have been great. We had it was a really fun show to do with you guys. Everybody in the chat, you guys were amazing. You guys always are. But trying to wrap things up. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends, tell your family, tell the stranger on the corner. This has been the Pinstripe Chronicles. Wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard.
Go Yankees.